Good morning. Yeah, we're facing another weekend, which is a good thing. I mean, it's still a good thing. Still, a lot of good things still happen on the weekends. We go out and drive a lot. We discover new places to eat. We visit with friends. I think Saturday we're going to visit with a friend, and Matt's going to help with his studies with regards to coding and computer stuff, which I know nothing about. I just sit back and eat stuff from their candy dishes and poke fun every once in a while because some words are funny. Anyway, so coffee today. This chocolate orange, I've shown this before, but it is a unique, wonderful taste and smell. It is oranges, poof, right from the get-go. It's a coffee and orange. It's not as overwhelming as the raspberry is. The raspberry, it's just a pure raspberry smell. But with this, you get the orange, essence of the orange, and then you actually get the chocolate as well. Today we're going to do something just a little bit more different, but not too much of a deviation. I'm going to use my French press. Heat it up properly. I'm going to use my French press today. I've not used this yet because it's not as fun to watch as the Chemex, and it's also definitely not as fun to watch as the Maca Pot. But it's another way of making coffee that is available to everyone. This one's in particular has got 2 baskets. At the time I thought, you know what, double baskets means more stuff will get strained out. To be honest, I think it's a bit of a gimmick. You've already got a really fine mesh right here, and doubling that fine mesh isn't going to do much because, I mean, like I said, if you look at it here, it's incredibly fine. The problems with regards to these kind of French presses is this rubber gasket right here. It is incredibly pliable, as you can see. It's very bendy-wendy, and when a nice larger chunk, harder chunk of coffee comes and meets the pressure, it's going to bend it up and it's going to pass through. So you're still going to get some particulates. It's not going to filter out 100%. You might get a good 75-80% of it out, but what it does is it kind of comes up, and then as the water's passing through, as it's going down, it kind of comes up into this basket. So you probably get about 75-80% more coffee with this. With this, you get 100% of everything that's in the bottom here. You don't get 100% of what you put into coffee regardless. You're always going to lose some in the process because there's always the soaking and then the release. And then you're always going to get some residual moisture that's going to stay in the bed. Or in the Maca Pot, you get steam, which, steam pushes the coffee up and through, and then you lose some water to that steam, and then it doesn't get everything out of the bottom. You may have like a tiny little bit of water at the very bottom because the funnel only goes down so far because water's got to get up in there, so it can't be flush and it can't have a rubber gasket, otherwise it's just going to turn into a giant bomb. So yeah, so you don't get all of the water out of the Maca Pot either. So no matter what you do with coffee, you are not going to get 100% of the water you put into it. You are probably going to get, and these are just round numbers because of what my research is been, and like 85% of the water you put in. And then depending on the method, you'll get a percentage of that. So I would say the amount of water you put in, 80% becomes coffee, 75% of that becomes drinkable coffee. Otherwise, you're going to get all your particulates in your cup. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to do this. It's not going to be as exciting as like a pour over or the Maca Pot, but we do have an exciting part that's over here. You get to watch the beans go down the hole. And what is coffee but a pile of jittery secrets? I don't know, I just came up with that. Someone will get the reference. Here we go. Really nice about this coffee is, like I said before, it grinds up so clean. You just don't get any of that white stuff that you get from other coffee, and it's really weird. I don't know why, but oh, the orange is so prevalent, and the chocolate is in the coffee, and the coffee is in the coffee. So good. So basically, all we're gonna do is we're gonna dump the coffee in the bottom here. A lot of people like to just put regular water, just cold water in here, cover it, and then put it in the fridge overnight. I've done that. It's actually not bad. I do enjoy it. When I did it, I enjoyed it. What I've also done is I've boiled my water still, poured it in here boiling, and then put it in the and then let it sit for a few minutes, and then put it in the fridge to make it a cold coffee. That seems to extract more flavor out. It feels a little less bitter because the hot water reacts better with the coffee grounds than the cold. But pouring cold water in here and covering it up and putting it in the fridge overnight, still a good way of doing it. Other than it maybe being just a little bit more bitter, still it's a really nice way to do it, and it's quick and it's easy and it's ready for you in the morning, and you don't have to boil water, which is 200, which a lot of people don't like to do, which is fine, especially if they want to do it in the morning. So this is pretty simple. Where's my lines at? I don't know if you can see the min max fill line, because there's a max tea line and then there's a max coffee line. We're not going to reach that with this hot pot or this water, but we do want to reach the minimum, which is here. There's a minimum line here, and then the max line is here. So we're gonna at least hit that min line, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to try to make sure everything gets hydrated. And I'm going to go back in there with a large spoon and make sure everything gets mixed up. And we're not going to put this in the fridge. We are going to let it sit for about 8 or 9 minutes. I'm going to use this whole kettle. We're going to get it up to the minimum. At the very least. Okay, so we got it up to minimum. We got it over minimum. Very good. So we use the whole thing. And there's a max coffee line because, I mean, you want this thing to fit. You want all of this to fit. And that's a lot of real estate right there. As it stands, the bottom of it's going to be sitting on the coffee anyway, which is fine. So I'm going to get a big spoon. And give it a nice stir. And the other thing about this is that the coffee is going to cool down a little bit while it's processing, but this this metal retains heat. It's like I'm smelling. This might be a turnoff for some people, but it's like I'm smelling orange juice coffee, and that may sound unappealing. I kind of winced a little bit when I said it. But the flavor profile of the coffee itself is just so fun, and it's a chocolate balanced with orange. And if you ever had a Terry's chocolate orange, which is those round things you smash and then the little segments come off, those are delicious. And you in the very citrusy, soury taste with the sweet. It's just a wonderful combination, and then the combination is also great here because you still get the same thing, but you don't get the sugar sweetness. You get the inherent sweetness of chocolate and the inherent sweetness of oranges. So we're going to cover this up. We'll just do it this way, and then we're going to let it sit covered for a couple of minutes. So I will not force you to sit through this for 8 minutes. So I'm going to put it on pause because, I mean, this is literally it. There's nothing exciting that happens. There's no little pops that pop up. It doesn't turn a different color. You know, it doesn't hiss. This is it. This is the boring pot. So we're going to go ahead and pause. And we'll be right back. All right, we're back at it. What's going to happen now is I'm going to take this, I'm going to give it a press. Nothing exciting is going to happen. I'm just going to let you know. It just, there's a little resistance as the particulates hit the basket and they collect, and so it gets harder and harder to push as you go down because it's harder and harder to force water through it because that's where all the particulates are, choking basically the basket. And that's why I think they think 2 baskets work, but literally that's not how 2 baskets work because the outside is choked, the inside is completely fine, but still nothing's getting through. I don't know. It's it's a weird system, but you know, I like this thing. So, and it's a lot of coffee too. So we're going to take a look. You'll notice that a French press is not nearly as dark as a pour over or a definitely not the maca pot, but it is a little bit lighter. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it's a different way of brewing and it's a different way of producing a cup of coffee. Yeah, that's what you're looking for. The wonderful hit of orange, and then the aftertaste of chocolate, and then in the middle of everything is just coffee, and it just coats your tongue, and it's just wonderful. It's a little hot. I'm not going to use the pistachio right now. That would ruin this coffee. So going to add a little. Should I froth it? Yeah. Let's do a frothy froth. Glorious frothy froth. In the morning. Yeah, where's that morning show? Frothy froth in the morning. What the hell is that? Should be good enough for now. Frothy froth in the morning. I'm gonna make it a cold one. Hold on to your hats. The world's gonna shake a little bit. Not too much. Okay. Doesn't need too much. I'll use a spoon just so I can stir it up. This is a fun thing to watch. Let's do this. Whoa. Look at that. Oh, that's actually kind of cool, isn't it? Where'd it go? It's got a lot of, that beer's got a lot of head on it. This will cool it down because it is 200 degrees still, because the pot, even though it sat there for about 8-9 minutes, that pot retains heat really well. So, pretty exciting. I've not tried it with the frothing yet. Oh, that's the best way to drink this. Holy cow. Ooh. Yes. Milk creaminess. Cools the coffee down. Brings a rich flavor. If there was any bitterness, it's gone, and now it is just orange and chocolate and cream from the frothy milk. So I'm going to take this outside. Actually, I'm going to leave this phone here. I'm pretty sure we'll be able to see okay. It is a beautiful day. Oh, kitties are playing. morning, everybody. We'll talk to you on Monday.